McBride family are a sixth generation, all family, like it's a company, family-owned company. Wool's their main focus. They've got 5 pastoral properties and then 5 grazing places down the southeast, South Australia. That's all their South Australian property. Plus they've got Telopea here that straddles the Victoria South Australian border, just north of Border Town. Like I said, they're very wool focused. I think they shore 350,000 sheep were shorn last year, which is, I think it was 1.6 million kilos, 8,600 bales that they produced over the year. They've got the goal of hitting that 10,000 bale clip if they can get there. And it's a big goal, but very the wool producers through and through. Yeah, sure.
I was a shearer for 25 years. Started when I was 17. Reoccurring back problems in my early 40s. I was warned by my doctor if you didn't change your occupation, you may not go on for much longer. So I dabbled in a bit of building. I would shear 11 months of the year and then build for a month, just to change the mindset. So when push come to shove, I loved the shearing industry, I loved shearing, but when push come to shove, it was an easy transition into building. So I just started off, renovations, extensions to local farmers that I worked for, and then took the business to a whole new level. So this is my 20th year. So yeah, my wife and I are the business. We have one employee, which is my older brother. So yeah, we're proud of what we do. I love being in the industry and being able to present stuff like this. So my work ethic from shearing, follow through, pride in your work, all that sort of stuff.
I was 20 years down at Lucendale, working for McBride's down managing a place down here. I've been up here the last 2 years. My first year up here, shearing went for 23 weeks. 5 sheds we used, 5 and 6 stand sheds. The second year, we only lost 2.5 days, did 89,000 sheep, and it was 15.5 weeks. So our sheep numbers are increasing every year, and this, I'm hoping we'll do 62 to 64,000 sheep in this shed this year, and I'm hoping to be in and out in 8 weeks. So that'll cut our shearing in half. We do have another shed, 6-stand shed that we use. They'll do around 30,000 there. But yeah, we'll cut shearing in half by this shed. Doing this shed, and it just frees up. It was very inefficient using the small sheds, and we've just seen by today how much this is going to improve tenfold.
I got thrown in the deep end when we designed and built Canetta. The local Heineken shearing rep was speaking to me one day, and he said, have you heard of McBride's? And they're building this 10-stand shearing shed, and you should throw in a plan. So he spoke to the manager at the time, Kingsley, and they gave me 7 days to design and price a 12-stand shearing shed because of their up-and-coming board meeting. So I panicked. I'd never done more than a 4-stand shed, and they gave me a design, and in the end I threw it away. And I thought no one could build a shearing shed this big. So I designed the shearing shed and put a shed over the top of it and presented it to them, and I came in ridiculously under what their nearest quote was. So, and I'm a fair man, and yeah, that's how I started the association with McBride.
Well, I knew Greg when he did the Canetta shed. We went through there. This is the third shearing shed he's done for McBride's. we did a bit of homework on the Canettas and other sheds and stuff like that, and we changed a few things around. But no, look, he was great. Like, I would change things last minute. He'd shake his head, but he'd do it. So it was good, and we put a lot of work, a lot of thought into this, but yeah, just really easy. And the fact that just the two of them did all this was next on. And it did take a month longer than you expected, but we got there. But no, look, it was just so easy to work with. It was really good.
I sort of tweaked the design through my own experience shearing. It just works. The sheep flow, whether it be in a 2 stand, a 5 stand, an 8 stand, or to this design, I just get positive feedback because there's so many designs out there, and once it's built, it's built. If it doesn't work, that's an awfully big amount of money to be spending on something that doesn't work. So I take on as much feedback as I can from the staff, and all we've got here today has been fantastic for me, because this is the first time I've actually seen one of my 12 stand shearing sheds working, because I'm always that busy. So it's been great. It's been really great. So there are other designs out there which we're in the process of about to try the new AWI design. So hopefully that goes well. I'll put my own twist to it still. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the feedback from that. Tonnage of steel. I think your cart note was about 32 tonnes when I read it. So by the time we put all the gates in and the ramps, probably 40 tonnes of steel. And believe it or not, there's 90 tonnes of timber that have gone into this structure. So yeah. I unfortunately got a little bit behind, and we had a commitment for a shearing shed that had to be up and running for a northern shearing in March. So Drew was probably reluctant, but happy enough, I hope. For me, we moved our gear, and the time you lose doing all that, we got caught with the rain. So a project that I thought was going to take 4 to 5 months realistically took 5 to 6 months. Yeah. Because there's only 2 of us doing it. So, yeah.
So we had the 12, so I had a full team today. So the first 2 weeks is sort of half improver school. So 5 stands were taken up with what they classed improver. So these are guys that are doing close to 100, but they still need a bit of training just to polish them up a little bit. So we've got 5 of them in there for the first, the 4 this week. They'll go at the end of this week, and another 4 will come in next week, and then after that 3rd week we'll go into a full team. So these guys, even today, we did 1,760 today out. I think as those kids go, we could. We had to cap the numbers a little bit because we get paid on the wool that gets processed, that gets the way it's presented. Not so much that. So it's a lot to do with how much the shed hands can handle and then the classer can handle. But no, we had 8 shed hands, 12 shearers, presser, penner upper. So there was 26 in the team. There was 26 and the cook as well down there. So yeah, 26 in here today, and I think we've got 50. Or probably we end up by the time Kenny finishes, there'll be probably around 62 bales done today for us, which is a good start compared to on a normal with our 5 stand. We might have got 15 bales out.
I first had dealings with Action probably 2 years ago. We were building a shearing shed at Narracourt, and this shed was delivered on site, and the local builder took one look at it and said, I haven't got the gear to put this up. So the farmer approached me while my machines were there. I said, I'm more than happy to put it up. And the structure was just that impressive to me that we then went on and built one at Tintinara. And we've done several other covers, and when this shed came up, I approached the supplier I normally used in South Australia. He was unable to supply it in the time frame. I drove to Stawell, sat down with Jason, lovely bloke. Service was, fantastic. No pressure. He's a very knowledgeable person, and I told him what I needed, and it just happened in the time frame we needed it. And look, the attention to detail with Action Sheds now, you seem to improve little things on every shed, down to the flashings, like the way your flashings work. Everything just looks schmick when it's finished. It really does. I'm proud to look at them when they finish. They really do look good.
When this came and I unloaded the frame and everything on the truck, like, it was just so, I suppose one thing we'd noticed is just everything was so easy to unload. It was all packed. First thing I thought was, how is Greg going to do this with just him and his brother? Lift it off, but it just all went up, and it just went up quick, and it went up, like, it just all placed together, just like a big jigsaw puzzle that went up, and he had the shed up in no time. And I know, like, Greg did most of the dealings with Action, but the dealings that we had with them, we had a couple of bent things a couple of things I wasn't happy with Greg, so he took them back, and they were replaced straight away. And like I said before, Greg was just pretty easy to get along with. He's got his non-negotiables that he does, but things that you could twist around, you could if you're right. But no, it was very easy. It went smoothly. It was really good. Yeah.
I like to add, like, the whole from Jason's the building consultant, and then move on to Ben and Alan. Well, they can answer you. He can answer your questions straight away. Your phone call away. I was telling Drew I had a mishap on a job, a sheepyard cover I was doing. I was in sheepyards trying to get out, and I hooked the truss with my high-ab crane. Much to my embarrassment. I was on the phone to Alan on a Tuesday. He had that truss made on the Wednesday, into Melbourne Pot, did galving, and I picked that up from store on the following Tuesday. And I couldn't ask for better service. As an erector, I have clients waiting to use the sheepyard, and Action have been great. It was very impressive.